Thank you for joining us today. Help us get to know you a little better. So if you would please introduce yourself and tell us about your role here.
Okay, my name is Joanie Albury. I'm going to be the head softball coach and also be a professor of math. That's pretty much, and anything else they need me to do.
Okay. So why softball? When did you realize you wanted to be a coach, and what brought you here?
So I played high school softball and basketball and went to watch state tournaments in both and never got to play in them, but loved watching them and decided that I wanted to, since I never got to play in one of those roles, I said, well, I'm going to coach. And if I can't play in it, I'm going to coach in it. So that's when, and I really kind of fell in love with algebra as a freshman and just decided that I really liked math and wanted to help other people learn to love math and coach. I've been coaching softball and basketball and volleyball quite a few years, but softball is going to be my love here, and so that's what I'm going to be doing.
So how did you initially get your start into coaching and teaching? What was your first role?
So I graduated from my high school in '84 and then graduated from college in '88 with my degree in math education, and went back and just so happened the year I graduated, my math teacher that I'd had in high school, he was also our softball coach and our basketball coach. He retired, and so I just kind of slid right in there and went back to my alma mater and coached there a couple of years, and then I was married. My husband and I got married, and then he was coaching at a college, and so I went to where he was coaching, and I ended up being assistant basketball and head softball coach there. So ever since then, I've always just been able to continuously coach something, and it's been a real blessing.
Okay, awesome. So what led to, what led you coming here, and what interests you about starting a program here at Buffs?
Well, I've always been interested in the college level. I love developing, young players, and we'll do some of that. We'll have some little kid camps and those kinds of things, but just the challenge of, starting a program from scratch. I did that at one of the other colleges where I started a new program. And so it was really kind of exciting to build something that was my own. And then to just be able to, work with college age students. I love teaching. I love the college atmosphere and teaching the college students. And so, I'm going to get it. My husband and I have always kind of worked together. And so he'll be the baseball coach here. And so we'll try to play the same teams on the road and at home, and then we'll be able to synchronize, working out who gets to hit on this end of cages, and we'll just, those kinds of things. So I think that we always work well together and have always had pretty successful programs. So we're excited to be back together again working.
That's awesome. So describe some of the qualities you're looking for in a softball player.
I think some of the things you look for, besides just being talent, obviously you want them to have some talent, but you also look at, what kind of teammate are they? If I ask them to lay down a sacrifice bunt, to give up themselves as an out, to move somebody else on a base, are they going to, get mad about it because they didn't get an at bat? Or are they going to be like, yeah, that's what helps the team is to move that runner over? You know how it is. If you're familiar at all with baseball and softball, if you get on 1 out of 3 times, you're pretty good. If you bat .333, that's a pretty decent average. And so how do they handle it when they don't get on every time? Are they throwing their bat? Are they throwing their helmet? Are they, so what kind of person are they? How do they handle adversity and non-success? So those are a couple of things, besides just the obvious of, are they a good hitter? Do they pitch? How well do they play their position? So those are kind of some of the intangibles that you look for.
So talking big picture, what's your vision for the program, and I guess smaller picture, what are some of the main qualities you're looking for in your team to play with or your team to embody?
Well, I think the one thing, obviously we want to compete, playing in the NCCAA. We're going to be able to compete in the World Series, and so that's obviously your number one goal is to win your last game that you play, and so that's going to be one thing that we strive to do. So obviously we want to be competitive. And as far as the team, I just want us to be a team that when people see us on the schedule, they're like, that's a good team, and I want teams to respect not only our talent, but I want teams to respect us as a team. Like, I want us to have good sportsmanship. I'm not expecting us to have, bench clearing brawls and, have any kind of crazy stuff happen like that. I expect us to act with integrity, again, good sportsmanship. And then at the end of the day, I want players to graduate with a degree and then to move on and You know, I want these young ladies to become, you know, outstanding wives and mothers, and they're already daughters and sisters and those kinds of things, but just to go on and become, you know, live their life for the Lord and make an impact on their families.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We hope you learned something today about our softball program and about our head coach. We look forward to an exciting season ahead for Bus Softball.